That is what you call an old-fashioned beatdown. There was one stretch near the end of the second quarter where the Clippers ended up going up by halftime, whatever. Take away that one little stanza, and the Warriors just beat the hell out of a team that they have not been able to beat in quite some time. And they looked bigger and faster and stronger and just flat out better. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Winning show right now, live on YouTube. You can check us out morning after, wherever you get your audio podcasts. We're all over Instagram and TikTok and all the fun stuff that we're talking Golden State Warriors on. My name's Charlie Walter, coming at you Monday through Friday, live after the games. Like I mentioned, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Now's a great time to get in with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA. You will get $20 off your first purchase. Matt Kolsky joins the program today to talk about a win where everyone stepped up, where the Warriors started a lineup featuring Quinten Post at the center, and with Jonathan Kuminga in that lineup instead of a Podziemski, they were huge. They got off to a real nice start. Then Podziemski himself and Moody and Quinten Post, and everyone steps up. This was a team win all across the board, led by Jimmy Butler. What'd you think of that one? Just an old-fashioned beatdown, specifically in the third quarter, where we will start. Warriors were down by 5 minutes in, and minutes into the fourth, they were up by 14.
Yeah, sort of a classic Warriors third quarter. We've had a couple of those so far this season, which I think is really encouraging. The thing about Jimmy Butler, and it was throughout the game, but there was a little of this in that third quarter too. One of the things the Warriors struggled with historically, but in this game specifically, is the way James Harden takes the air out of the ball and just sort of sucks the joy out of basketball. And definitely Steve Kerr's always talking about rhythm and flow, and the ball has energy, and like whatever that is, that beautiful game thing that Steve Kerr loves, James Harden is like the never mind. He's the antithesis of that.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, Kolsky, but I don't know if anyone finds that game beautiful.
Yeah, yes, I'm also trying to insult James Harden, but what I'm really trying to say is
Clippers
that
as a whole, they had 10 assists compared to the Warriors 24. I mean, it's a lot of
mucky, disgusting basketball, and even the halftime show said it. Like, that first half was disgusting. What Jimmy Butler can do in those situations is reorganize and kind of get you going again in a way that I think has been really hard for this team to do historically. Like, when they get out of rhythm, it can be hard for them to find it again. There those moments that we've seen over the last 5 years where it's like, wait a second, what just happened to this offense? It was humming, the ball was moving all over the place. And then somebody like James Harden goes and draws 17 fouls, and all of a sudden it's like, now they're not even
perspective, because the Warriors were running with pods and everyone in that second unit, and then it just, you're right, it mucked up, and next thing you know, Kawhi comes back in too. He hits a couple threes, and boom, Clippers are up. You're right. I mean, that's a good assessment, that he just makes the game kind of disgusting, but very helpful for his team.
Yeah, and as you say, disgusting is in the eye of the beholder. He's effective in those moments, if you want to look at it that way. But Jimmy changes that stagnancy to where, I mean, look, you could always toss it to Steph, but he's not. Steph is going to go down in history as a better player than Jimmy Butler. But maybe there are two things Jimmy Butler does that Steph Curry basically can't. One is the defense. I mean, just physically, Butler is much bigger. The second thing, though, is if you give Steph Curry the ball in like a oh God, Steph, our offense is dragging. We need you to do something. He's got to do it because of his size. He's got to do it like with a quick attack. He has to burst into it.
Butler's methodical, kind of a silent assassin. Strong, crafty, smart,
They've not had
good.
We talk about the things that they haven't had, and certainly since Kevin Durant, they have not had a guy that can just be like, all right, there were 2 possessions in that third quarter where he was just like, all right, hold on. I'm about to take 19 seconds here, and I'll just work my way into something. And sometimes it's a pass to a wide open shooter. Sometimes it's an easy bucket at the rim. Sometimes it's an 18-footer. But that is a very valuable thing to have in a basketball game. And I think particularly in a game against a team like the Clippers that kind of have 2 guys like that with Harden and Kawhi. Whatever I think about James Harden, he is one of those dudes.
And it's the gift that keeps on giving, man, because it kind of rubs off on everyone else. You look at the way that Kuminga's been playing, and they've been calling him on the broadcast. What, Jonathan Butler?
Yeah.
Little Jonathan Butler in him.
The approach continues to be perfect, and tonight was not a good shooting night, and I thought,
great start to the game, and then
he's going to start getting some of those calls at the rim. If he keeps being this aggressive, he's going to start getting some of those calls, and so far he's been a good free throw shooter this year, although again, tonight not his best in that department. But tonight wasn't about Kuminga to me. It really was about Jimmy Butler and then all the other supporting cast guys, the guys who came off the bench tonight, and Quinten Post really stepping up. That was a huge game. Really the first good game, I think, from Quinten Post this season. Came at a perfect time. I mean, Zubac actually probably had his best game of the season, but that's not because of Quinten Post. Quinten Post did a good job of drawing him away from the rim on offense. It creates space. He knocked down, 4 threes. Like, that's what he's there for. And his defense was representative, if not excellent.
Yeah, and I want to give some credit to just the rotations that Kerr had, because I thought the first one that he came out with when he went to the bench, and it was Horford was in there, and Gary Payton was in there. Jimmy was in there, obviously, Pods, and then maybe Moody, too, is the 5th in there, or Will Richard. But it was an interesting lineup he kind of threw out there. And Buddy, rather, he didn't go to a ton of Bunny tonight. He only went 10 minutes to Mr. Heald, who went 0 of 1 from 3 and just didn't get a ton of run. He went with a lot of Moody, a lot of Podziemski. Those 2, 9 for Moody, 12 for Pods. They each went for 20 the prior game, as did Kuminga. It was probably, Steve Kerr said, it was probably the first time in their careers that they've each gone for 20 in the same night. I don't know if factually that is right, but I would probably guess so.
Sounds
and
right.
I mean, doesn't that just, and when Post is playing well too, doesn't that just raise the ceiling of this team so much to the point where that every game they're out there, Jimmy's rubbing off on them for another season. They're getting better every single time they go out there. And now you don't even get great games from everyone. I mean, Pods gave you a good one, but Kuminga's been better so far. Moses has been better so far. And you're still getting great production from these guys because they figured out how they need to play.
Pods was fine tonight. I actually think the most noteworthy thing about tonight is that it's all relative, I suppose. Like, someone just put in the chat that Quinten Post was incredible, and that's true by Quinten Post standards. This was a perfect Quinten Post game. But, 12 points, 8 rebounds. It's not like he was plus 34.
Defensively, he did everything.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to crap on Quinten Post, who was awesome tonight. In fact, he was the first guy I brought up. But nobody exploded tonight at all. I mean, the guy who really had one of his best games was Butler, but that's still only 21 points, and that led the team. Tonight was really, and it wasn't like no one went off offensively, and so they barely beat the Clippers. This really was a strength in numbers. Nobody was spectacular, but Butler was quite good, and everyone else was good. And they beat the stuffing out of a team that a lot of people picked to finish higher than them.
Dude, the Clippers got no good looks. Everything
Well,
was unassisted. It was ISO ball. It was tough looks. The Warriors were getting clean. I mean, the motion offense, beautiful looks.
Yeah, and Terry Gannon had the gall to give them the excuse of, well, remember, Bradley Beal's not here yet. I was not one of the people who picked the Clippers to finish ahead of the Warriors, and I
didn't either. We both had them in the play-in.
I don't think either of us had them in the playoffs, is what I was going to say. So I think they're about what I expect. They're 500 so far. I think they'll finish over 500. They'll get it together eventually, but like, this is not a great Clippers team, and they're not a threat to the Warriors if both squads are healthy, in my opinion. I think I said that yesterday when we talked about, after last night's game. This is the back night of a back-to-back. It is a Clippers team that should be fresh and ready to go. And the Warriors really controlled the whole thing other than one ugly stretch in the second quarter. So,
light work.
It really
work, my friends.
It really was. And again,
a brisk jog from the Warriors tonight.
Right. And nobody had to be spectacular for this to happen.
Steph got scratched. I mean, you came out of it with a scratch. Yeah.
The neck scratch was vicious.
Like scar.
But I just think, like, when the approach is like this, all the Warriors need to beat a lot of teams is everybody to be pretty good. And that's a good place to be. Now, when you get the Denvers and the Oklahoma Cities and the San Antonio Spurs of the world,
man,
it's going to be tougher, but they have just look, the fact that the only team they've lost to so far is a team that's not a threat to them in the slightest. The team they've lost to is by far the worst team they've played, I would argue, the Portland Trailblazers. And they're tough. Like we saw, they'll whoop your butt on an off night, but like, it's incredibly encouraging that, dare I say, every time the Warriors have given a sincere effort, they've been great so far this year.
4-1 is the record. 98-79, the final score. Chase Center was popping. We're going to give you another look at how this one ended and a look ahead at Giannis in the Milwaukee Bucks coming up on Thursday. That's straight ahead on the program.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
All right, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season's officially here. Nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games, but let's get real. Getting tickets can be a headache between waiting and queues, surprise fees, prices that jump before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team, and that's where Game Time comes in. It's the app that gives the fans an advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. What I like about Game Time, I get my seats in minutes. I don't have to wait. I do it for concerts too. Kygo comes into town, boom. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Find what your seat looks like in real time with a panoramic view. Download that Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, and go. Today's episode is also brought to you by America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel. NBA, there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or if you want to ride a player's hot hand, FanDuel has live bets from everything who will score the next point to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps everything exciting. Right now, they're giving new customers $300 in bonus bets. That's if your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back to it.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
Warriors got plenty of dogs, man. 98-79. I saw a comment that came in the chat a little bit earlier, and it said, Kolsky, you remember when you said Draymond Green should sit out tonight's game for load management? Now, I'll give you a chance to respond in a minute, but the man behind you, Michael Jordan, was on NBC tonight talking about load management, and he said, whenever I got a chance to go out there and put on a show for the fans, I felt like it was my civic duty. I felt like it was an obligation that I needed to provide to Chicago Bulls fans. And in this situation, I get it in February, I get it later on in the winter, but I think we differ in terms of even when you have an older team, except for Al Horford and Curry here and there. Look, you need all the energy that you can get from Butler and Draymond Green. They got to be playing these games. You got to be going for wins. That's a big win tonight, man. 4-1. That's a big win. They're all big. It's a sprint. Did I lose you?
No, they beat the Clippers by 20. You don't think they maybe could have done it without Draymond?
I mean, that's a good counterpoint.
I should also say, like, it frustrates me that people don't listen, because what I actually said was not they should sit Draymond tomorrow, but like I would start thinking about managing the over 35 group on this roster aggressively, because it is already
Curry
should have been interpreted
tonight, 26 against Portland. You know, he hasn't gone.
It turned out great because they did get to rest Steph somewhat. Draymond, still hasn't looked great physically to me. Maybe I'm the outlier here, but he doesn't look great physically to me, and it's game 5. Yeah, maybe it's crazy, but I would think about resting him sooner than later rather than wait until there's a problem.
In terms of play, or do you say physically just in terms of like
no.
The conditioning to where?
I don't think it's conditioning. I just think
You
he's
just think he
at
looks
a different
old.
phase. I think he
his
looks
beard
a little
gray,
old.
and you're just like,
Draymond's great. He's on my wall, for God's sakes. Like, I don't know what people want from me. I love Draymond. I would love him to play 82 games like Michael Jordan. But I think much more important than him playing 82 games like Michael Jordan is him being healthy when the playoffs come. That's it. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And I like, no one's going to convince me that that's a silly thing to think about. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
look, this is it. This is an interesting point, right? Maybe that's the case. Maybe what I'm seeing is a guy that does need to play himself into shape a little bit. But I'm just thinking about the fact that even though Post and Horford were both available tonight, Draymond Green's comparatively tiny body got banged around by Ivica Zubac on more than one occasion tonight, and perhaps that was not necessary. That's all. He
played in 68 games last season. I feel like there was a stretch where he was actually.
I don't know how that's
Draymond doesn't sit out, man. He goes out there and he's going to play. And I don't think the Clippers at home are the game to, Portland would have been the game to give him one to rest.
But they didn't do that. So we were talking 2 games after Portland, and all I did was bring up the idea. He didn't rest. They won. Great. I'm not mad at it. Like, I don't know what, but yeah, but see, this I don't agree with. I don't agree with it at all, because I absolutely think they could have beaten the Clippers without Draymond tonight. And I think the key to this season is going to be whenever they start.
It says, if you're going to manage Draymond, also sit Steph and Jimmy, basically punt the game. And you're saying that, no, they can win games without Draymond. You throw Kuminga in potentially his role or whatever.
Yes,
and Al Horford.
And that, exactly. It has to be on a, Horford night, right?
It's going to be really hard. Basically. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's strategically something that maybe you can go to in February, but right now, I don't think it's.
I mean, listen, yeah. I also said if we want to remember the actual conversation, like, Draymond's not going to go for it, so it's probably not going to happen, and it didn't. But I think tonight proves my point again, because the broader point is not about rest Draymond this night or that night, or like I'm not trying to make specific prescriptive suggestions about one.
So you got other ways to win.
What I'm saying is 2 things. Number 1, I think this team can win on any given night without anybody. Not a whole group of anybody's, but without any one player, right? I think this team can win. I also think that if this team is fully healthy in the playoffs, we'll see how things pan out with the Thunder and Spurs, but I expect them to be in my top 3 Western favorites by the end of the season, the Warriors, if
they
they
look
are
so
fully
good.
healthy. They
They
look
look so good,
great,
man.
and they are, as Draymond says, they're a team filled with 16-game players. And what I would hate to see is an effort to win one more of the 82 cost them the opportunity to make a run in the 16, because I would rather see them healthy as a 6th seed than banged up as a 3 seed. That's just me. That's my take on where this thing is headed. And maybe it's early to start thinking about that. Like, it is early to start thinking about that. What I'm really saying is that this team is built in an extraordinarily interesting and original way. And most of that involves age. I would start to manage the needs of that age in a unique way. That's all. That's all.
Yeah, well, Butler 21, Curry 19. We mentioned Post with 12, Podziemski with 12. Those are your double-figure scores for the Warriors, and I want to get into some BP. He went 2 of 6 from 3. Moses Moody went 3 of 7. Those guys, man, were swinging it. They were making quick decisions. Moses was ready to let it fly anytime he had an inch, man.
And
Anytime he
Pods,
had an inch.
this is what the off night has to look like. He doesn't need to score 20 every night, but he needs to not have the night where he's 2 for 11.
12, 5, 4, and 1 turnover.
There you go. Bingo.
Those are the magic numbers. And these are Jimmy Butler's magic numbers, man. 21, 5, and 5. Usually not as your leading scorer, but when you hold the Clippers to 79, you can get away with some stuff.
Didn't even need a free throw tonight.
No, you can get. How about that? Warriors only shot 4 free throws.
Well, we don't need to talk about the refereeing because they won this game handily, but it was poor.
That'll happen from time to time.
Especially with old whatever number he is, number 1 on the floor from the other side.
Yeah. The Clippers tonight, I mentioned they had 10 assists in the game. Leonard had 18. Harden had 20. And then aside from that, you got 14 from Zubac. And, I mean, John Collins with 5. Batum had 3. Brook Lopez just sits behind the arc and chucks up a lot of threes. That was a question in the offseason. Would we have rather had Al Horford or Brook Lopez? And I think Al's probably the answer there. I mean, Brook still gives you some rim protection, but he just hovers around and throws up some threes. And today he was 0 of 4 from downtown with just 3 points. Chris Paul got just put on a poster, a block by Podziemski, coming from behind, trailing, and just pinning his old teammate's shot. His old teammate, right? Same team? No, I'm a year off. No.
Yeah.
Yes, same team.
Yeah, they played together. Yeah.
Same team. Yep. Same team. And blocked his old teammate's shot.
I got a feeling Chris Paul's going to be on the receiving end of a lot of blocks this year, man.
They're already talking
talk
about
looking old.
Tour. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
On ESPN, they're like, how much longer can Chris Paul do it? I mean, he's damn near 40, right?
He's very old. Yeah, I mean, he's
40.
He's the same age as LeBron and them, I think. He came out the year after, I want to say. I might be wrong about all this, but I think he's about the same age as LeBron. He's got to be 40.
He's 40 years old, and he played 14 minutes. He didn't score a single point. He was a minus 11. But meanwhile, I think that's an interesting comparison because Al Horford's just about 40, and he had 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting, but he had 4 rebounds. And I thought in some of his minutes, he gave you some decent perimeter defense against James Harden out there. He's one of those guys that's not really going to put up numbers, but he was in some lineups that didn't necessarily do well at minus 12, but I thought individually he was fine.
You don't need him to put up numbers, right? You just need him to keep doing Al Horford stuff.
Need his presence, yeah.
Yeah.
Be smart on offense, move it, make the right play, set hard screens, kind of give you that loony while also being a 3-point threat and then defensively protecting the rim.
And then maybe
the perimeter and switches.
Yeah, and maybe you hope for 2 big games in the playoffs out of a guy like that, right? Because he's been there, he knows what to do. But the most important thing is having a trustworthy defensive center with range, right? I mean, that's the thing they haven't had. A defensive center that Steve Kerr trusts on the defensive end who can also shoot the 3. And he is that. Whether he knocks every 3 down over the course of the regular season or not, he's still going to affect the floor in that way because people in the NBA are used to Al Horford knocking down threes. Like, they're not going to stop running, closing out to Al Horford hard this season. I promise you that.
Yep. Let's continue the show. Let's talk about the Warriors' next opponent, the Milwaukee Bucks, who are off to a nice start. Giannis looking like one of the MVP frontrunners out of the gate. They took down the New York Knicks. We'll discuss that one and the Warriors' tough matchup coming up on Thursday. It's straight ahead on Locked On
Who
Warriors.
can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
If you're a business owner, here is the truth, everyone. The average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's sad. Software as a disservice. And that's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give you leaders clarity, to give your leaders speed, and to give your leaders control. What I love about Rippling, it removes the bottlenecks and busy work that slows teams down. Everything runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's very simple to use. Give it a try. Right now, you can get 6 months free. 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnba. Give them a shot. Learn more at rippling, rippling.com/lockedonnba. That's rippling.com/lockedonnba for 6 months free. Today's episode is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Big fan of Monarch Money. Let's be honest, we can't name most of our financial accounts. There's 401ks from different jobs that you've switched over, and investments, savings. You can lose track of what your net worth is and what your goals are. And that's why you use Monarch. It's an all-in-one personal financial tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface. You can use it on your laptop or on your phone. Have your investments together with your partner, set goals, and don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. That's code LOCKEDONNBA at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. Visit monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for 50% off your first year. Let's get back to the show.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
Who can stop Giannis Antetokounmpo right now? And the answer is not the New York Knicks and not anyone that's been in their path this season or really since he's entered the league. I want to say, let's go back in history real quick. Okay, so Giannis was stopped in 2013 when he averaged 6 points and then 12 and then 16. But since then, 2015, he's been doing this for a decade now. A 9-time All-NBA player that's looking like it could be 10. Averaging 36 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists. His stat line against the Knicks, pretty much his stat line this season. 37, 8, 7, a plus 18 on the floor. And man, you look at the Milwaukee Bucks that the Warriors played last year. AK, the team they have now pretty much, Gary Trent Jr., AJ Green, Ryan Rollins, former forever Warrior Ryan Rollins, Taurean Prince, Bobby Portis, Kyle Kuzma, Amir Coffey, Cole Anthony. Yes, they have Miles Turner this year, but you look up and down that roster and it's not very sexy, but Giannis is unbelievable, man. Bucks on Thursday. How we feeling?
You said it. Giannis is unbelievable. And
he gets 6 steps, apparently. You see that? Was it a gather step or did he take 6 steps? I mean, good God.
Both. It's the gather step and he took 6 steps. But
you do that at the local Y, they're throwing fists. You know, you don't call that?
Technically, that's allowed in the NBA and nowhere else in the world. He is devastating, and particularly for a team in the Warriors that doesn't have a lot of size, as we discuss all the time. Also, they have a very they don't have a ton of certainly name talent around Giannis. I mean, Miles Turner is probably the next biggest name on that team, right? But they have a very distinct plan. Like, they know what they're going out there to do. The box score tells you. It's pretty crazy. You mentioned Giannis 16 for 22, 21 of those from 2-point range, right? He took 1 3. Everybody else is just popping threes. So it's Giannis He's got the ball in his hands most of the time.
Drive
He's
and
running
kick.
downhill. And if he can't score, which he usually can, but if he can't, he's looking for shooters. And they are gunning. And yeah, look, the idea, get the ball out of his hands either by stealing it or trapping him, is great. But he's gotten better and better and better as a ball handler. He's gotten better and better at dealing with those situations, and that's why the Bucks look really good to start this year, even though he's probably the only all-star on the team with respect to Turner. So it's going to be an interesting challenge, although I don't necessarily think the Bucks are going to have, I don't have them pegged for the same level of competitiveness over the years the Warriors. I do think they present a particular challenge to the Warriors because of who they are. You can also point out they're playing in the Eastern Conference, and the challenge has not been particularly substantial for them. Their wins are against Washington, Toronto, and then the Knicks today, which I think is a pretty good win. Although I guess the Knicks are 2-2. It's hard to say what the record means this early, but they look pretty good. And again, they know what they're doing. They're going out there with a plan, and it's a plan that is going to present some problems for the Warriors.
Yeah, let's get to the charity stripe. It's get open looks from 3 and hope that Ryan Rollins knocks down all 4 of his threes.
He's playing well.
And goes for 25, man. He is playing well. Warriors, did they even give him a shot, really? I don't even remember him running around. Drafted him.
I mean, he was a G leaguer and a backbench guy at a time when they really didn't need another guard.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's been a while since they needed more guards, and yet they keep piling them up. But here's the point.
Played 12 games for the Warriors in 23.
Yeah. The Bucks, just like, again, it's Giannis. So if you can deal with Giannis, it's going to be fine. I mean, that's what it ultimately comes down to for a team like the Warriors. They're going to be able to put up points against almost anybody, I would think, this year. But Giannis is a tough guard for everyone, and maybe especially for the Dubs. I imagine Kuminga, Butler, Draymond, Horford, they're all going to get shots to deal with Giannis. And so far this season, just in, let's see. So they've played 4 games. Points, rebounds, assists, 3 categories. So there have been 12 opportunities to lead the team in a category so far for the Bucks this year. Giannis is 11 for 12. Because tonight he was 1 assist, or maybe a couple assists short of being the team leader. So it's all about Giannis.
Yeah,
it's all about Giannis.
It's all about the Greek freak, man. Warriors 4-1 now. They got the Bucks coming up here. Try and get to 5-1. Today, the story was that the third quarter, Warriors were down 51-46 with 11:34 to go in the game. They were up by 14, 12 minutes of game time later. All their points during that stretch, it came from a post 3 to start. Then it came from Steph free throws, 3 of them. Then Jimmy gets some buckets. Then Kuminga gets 1. Then it's Pods who has the stretch. Then Moody. Then Post another 3. Look, the Clippers had 7 assists with 2 minutes to go in the game. The Warriors had 22, I believe, at that point, and they finished with 24 as compared to 10. It was an ugly brand of basketball against a beautiful flowing offense where everyone looks connected. We love that word in the Bay Area. And they look like they're on the same page. Vibes are good. They're having fun. They're knocking down shots. Warriors could use getting Buddy Hield going, but guess what? If you don't get him going, 10 minutes is fine as long as everyone else steps up. And the point that everyone is for sure going to get mad about in the comments, which I like, it pumps it to the algorithm more. So thank you. Rage bait at its finest, although it wasn't actually bait. It's the way Kolsky feels. But the reason he feels that way is just basically stating that he thinks that the Warriors can get wins while also somehow managing the elderly, that they're only 36, 37 years old. So Kolsky, good stuff, man.
A team built this way has never won anything. So that's all I'm saying is
they've never had many chances because old school NBA did not see 35, 36-year-olds playing like any of these dudes.
That's right. And the 35 and 36 and 37-year-olds who have played this well over the last few seasons have generally run out of steam or come up with an injury down the stretch or in the playoffs. See LeBron, see Steph last year. Would Steph Curry have been healthy for the full series against Minnesota if he had taken 3 extra games off during the year? I don't know, man. But I think it's worth investigating. That's all I'm saying.
I'm sure Celebrini's doing his due diligence, Kolsky.
And like Thursday,
we appreciate you bringing up your point of concern, though.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't going to talk about it again, but you'd be crazy not to have it in your head, is all I'm saying. You'd be crazy not to be thinking about it because it's so clear already that the most important thing for this team is to be healthy when it counts. It's the most important thing.
At the very least, a 6, right? You don't want to be in the play-in again.
I would rather have them in the play-in healthy than in the 5th seed injured.
We'll talk about this in February. Big win, Kolsky. 13 points. Too easy.
Nobody's resting on Thursday. You got a day off before. You got a day off after. Let's go. Beat the Bucks.
Milwaukee. 4-1. Golden State Warriors. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.